Hey travelers, welcome back to the channel. If you're planning to fly on Delta Airline anytime soon, you need to watch this video because the airline just reaffirmed some bans that might completely change how you pack for your next flight. No matter which type of traveler you are, some of these rules are honestly going to surprise you big time. Delta Airlines, listen to this, has doubled down on its policy by banning certain comfort items and personal devices as well from their flights. And they're citing safety concerns as the main reason. But here's the thing, when you see what's actually on that banned list, huh, you might be scratching your head and thinking, who was even bringing some of those stuff on the planes in the first place? You are going to be surprised and maybe you're going to crack up. But if you're going to fly in 2026, you need to know these things so you can be prepared or you can tell someone what you've learned. So, what exactly is Delta banning? Let's start with the obvious ones. Inflatable devices like wedges, cubes, and beds are now prohibited. Yes, apparently people were bringing inflatable beds onto flights. I didn't even know that was a thing. Did you? But here we are. Knee defenders and seat recline blockers are also banned, which honestly makes sense because those things have caused more than a few mid flight arguments over the years, if you didn't know that. But it gets more interesting. Foot hammocks and slings, those are banned. Window and tray table organizers, also banned. And here's one that really caught my attention. Pods and tents are not allowed along with full head helmets. I mean, who's trying to set up a camping tent in economy class? But apparently, it was enough of an issue that Delta had to put it on the list, specifically calling it out. Now, Delta's reasoning for these bans comes down to safety, as I said before. According to their policy, those items can block the aisle rather, and footwells, create trip hazards attached to the aircraft like seats or windows, extend into other passengers' seating areas, have non compliant lithium ion batteries, block access to safety equipment like oxygen masks and fire extinguishers, or just generally create safety risk as determined by the airline. So that is the reason for this list of banned items. And look, I get it from the safety perspective, I do. The last thing you want in an emergency evacuation is someone's inflatable foot cube blocking the aisle or a tent structure preventing access to emergency equipment. That is dangerous, if you ask me. But at the same time, it does highlight just how uncomfortable modern air travel has become in this era. People are bringing camping equipment just to survive a cross country flight. Can you imagine that? Social media had a field day with these items. And I mean, I understand all of that. One passenger wrote, "Where have I been for the past decade? Inflatable beds, footrests, window organizers? Who travels with a window organizer? Who does that?" And honestly, that's a fair question. The fact that these items became popular enough to warrant an airline ban says something about the state of air travel. That's what I think. Or air travel comfort, to be more specific. Another passenger made an excellent point saying if airlines are banning comfort items, why don't we passengers write a petition requiring airlines to make the seats more comfortable so we don't have to bring those stuff on there? And as for safety, on that same petition, lose a row or two of seats and move all of those remaining seats back an inch so that we can have more room for comfort. That's the real issue here, isn't it? Well, that's what I think. People are resorting to bringing their own comfort solutions because airlines have made seats smaller and legroom practically non existent in their quest to cram more passengers onto every flight. That is what this is all about. Now, it's not all bad news. Delta does allow certain comfort items as long as they fit within carry on size limits and can be quickly collapsed, I should say, and stored under your seat, such as the tent, I'm assuming. So, a small travel pillow or a compact blanket, you're probably fine with that. But that elaborate inflatable setup you're planning, just leave it at home. Just don't even bother. Delta isn't alone in this crackdown either. United Airlines has similar rules and specifically banned footrest and hammocks because they alter the seats according to them. JetBlue, Air France, Lufthansa, Qantas, Emirates, and several other international carriers have all implemented comparable restrictions on in-flight comfort and rest devices. So, if you're a frequent flyer who's gotten creative with your comfort solutions, it's time to rethink your strategy regardless of which airline you're flying. Yes, because all of them seem to be have the same mindset. There's another band though that's getting a lot of attention, and this one's actually more serious. Delta is the only US carrier banning AI powered glasses on flights. They say that it's part of their continuous evaluation of the landscape to ensure safety and security of our people and global operation. That's exactly what they said in their fine print. That's pretty vague though, and it makes you wonder what specific concerns they have about AI glasses that other airlines aren't worried about. Well, not yet. And speaking of technology, let's talk about batteries and charging devices because this is where things get really important. Southwest Airlines was the first airline to issue strict rules about portable charging devices earlier in 2025. And now it's becoming an industry wide concern for most airlines. According to Southwest policy, portable charging devices must be visible and cannot be stored in bags while charging or placed in overhead bins. The reason for that? Lithium batteries can experience something called thermal runaway, which is basically when they overheat and potentially catch fire. And that has happened before. The Federal Aviation Administration actually issued a warning about this specific thing, stating that lithium batteries stored in overhead bins or buried in carry-on bags may be difficult for people to access or monitor, and this delays detection and firefighting measures if something does go wrong. So they have a point. It is a legitimate safety concern, and it's why you'll see those battery related rules continue to evolve in 2026. So you better get ready for it. Now, here's what you absolutely cannot pack in your checked luggage: lithium batteries, portable chargers, and power banks, e cigarettes, and lighters. Do not pack recalled, damaged, or defective batteries under any circumstances. Why? Because they pose a serious fire hazard and threat. Delta also reminds passengers about the liquid restrictions, which hasn't been changed yet. You're still limited to containers of 100 milliliters or less for your liquids, your gels, your aerosols, and paste. And everything must fit in one quart-sized clear plastic bag. The rule hasn't changed. It's the same. That includes beverages, creams, hair gel, shampoo, suntan lotion, toothpaste, basically anything with a similar consistency. There are special provisions, though, for necessary items like medication, breast milk, and infant formula, which can receive special screening. So you get out of the line and you're screened separate for those things. On the positive side, though, There are still some free items that you can carry on Delta flights beyond your standard carry on and personal item. You can bring a jacket, and umbrella, food or drinks purchased after you get through airport security, duty free merchandise, and special items like strollers, wheelchairs, child safety seats, or assistive devices like crutches or walkers. So at least there's some flexibility there, and I'm happy for that. Yes. But here's my take on all of this. These bans are symptoms of a bigger problem in the airline industry. That's what I believe. Airlines have spent years making seats smaller. That's the problem. Reducing leg room and eliminating amenities that used to be standard for most passengers, for all passengers. So passengers started getting creative, bringing their own comfort solutions to make the flight, especially on long flights, to make the flights bearable. And so now airlines are banning those too, citing safety concerns, as I said, which to be fair are legitimate in many cases. But come on, the real solution would be for airlines to make flying more comfortable in the first place. Give passengers a reasonable amount of space in those seats. Stop treating us like sardines. But until that happens, though, and let's be honest, it probably won't. We are stuck navigating these increasingly complex rules about what we can and cannot bring on board a plane. And it's all about money for the airline. So, what should you do before your next Delta flight, or really any flight? First, you're going to check the airline's website for their most current banned items list. These policies are evolving constantly. And what was allowed last month might not be allowed today. Second, you're going to keep your carry on simple: a small pillow, a light blanket, and your essential electronics. That should be fine. But leave the elaborate comfort setups at home. Third, you're going to make sure that all your portable chargers and battery power devices comply with the airline's regulations and keep them accessible during the flight, not buried in your bag or stowed away in the overhead bin. That is unacceptable. And finally, maybe just accept that flying isn't going to be luxuriously comfortable unless you're paying for premium cabins. So pack light, dress comfortable, stay hydrated, and try to maintain a sense of humor about the whole situation. Because at the end of the day, we are flying hundreds of miles per hour through the sky in a metal tube, which is still pretty amazing. If the legroom situation is terrible, that is still amazing. If you found this video helpful, hit that subscribe button. I know I'm just kidding about it, but it's serious. I don't want you to miss updates on airline policy changes that are coming up that will affect your travel plans. So you make sure you subscribe and drop a comment below and let me know what you think. Have you ever bought any creative comfort items on a flight? Did you know about any of these bans before today, before watching this video? I would love to hear from you. And before you click off, please check out my YouTube shopping area below for some discounted and travel favorites. This will help to support the channel, and I really thank you in advance for doing so. Other than that, safe travels, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care now.